In 2006, in Beijing, China, there was a building named Beijing. Inside the building there were two basements, labeled Basement A and Basement B. Basement B had been sealed off for a long time, but it was now set to reopen. The task of cleaning and restoring the highly unkempt basement was assigned to the building manager, Mr. Wang. On the morning of July 7th, Mr. Wang entered the basement with a flashlight and cleaning tools. As he descended, the darkness grew thicker. Turning on his flashlight, he began exploring the basement. While walking around, his light fell upon a large ventilation fan. Upon closer inspection, he saw something that startled him: a dried-up corpse, wedged inside. The body was shriveled, with its skin clinging tightly to the bones. Overwhelmed with fear, Mr. Wang collapsed on the spot, his body trembling. Regaining composure, he called the police. The police arrived promptly and began their investigation. Upon closer inspection, they confirmed that the remains belonged to a woman. The body was accompanied by tattered clothing and faint blood stains, suggesting foul play. The woman's corpse was sent to a hospital for further examination to determine the cause of death and her identity. The news of the body found inside the ventilation fan caused an uproar. Forensic experts determined the woman was likely between 18 and 22 years old. Her face and skull had been severely damaged by a heavy object, making identification nearly impossible. Evidence also suggested she was sexually assaulted before her murder. The victim's nails were painted, and she was dressed in stylish clothing, indicating she was likely heading somewhere when the crime occurred. A small branded luxury purse was found nearby, containing only an old newspaper dated October 6, 1999. This clue revealed that the woman had likely been murdered about 7 years earlier, around the time the Beijing Building was under construction. The ventilation duct, located in an isolated area of the basement, had served as the perfect hiding spot for her remains. The discovery of the mummified body revealed a sinister truth. The location had been chosen with chilling precision. A ventilation fan in the secluded basement had dried the corpse, erasing obvious signs of decay. The area's isolation made it an ideal hiding spot, barely known, rarely visited, even by the building's maintenance staff. It was a perfect place for secrets to fester, hidden in the shadows for years. Now the police faced a daunting challenge: uncovering the identity of the victim and piecing together the events that led to her death. Their investigation took them back to 1999, the year the Beijing Building, then called the Lyon Building, was still under construction. Scouring missing person reports from that time, one case immediately stood out. On October 7th, 1999, a young woman named Go Sha vanished under eerily mysterious circumstances. That evening, she had parked her car at the Northwest Beijing railway station parking lot and walked toward the Lyon Building. Security footage from the time showed her heading toward the elevators inside the building, a mere 50 to 60 meters away. Then she disappeared without a trace. Go Sha was no ordinary woman. Hailing from a wealthy and influential family, she was known for her high fashion sense and luxurious lifestyle. The night she disappeared, she had been out to dinner with her parents when a call from her company interrupted the evening. Urgently summoned to work, Go Sha assured her family she would be home by morning and left. Hours passed, but Go Sha didn't return. Her parents attempted to contact her, but her phone was switched off. Initially, they assumed she was caught up with work, but as the hours stretched into the next morning with no word, panic set in. Rushing to her workplace, they discovered that Go Sha had never arrived. Their growing dread turned to horror when they found her car still parked in the basement of the Lyon Building. With no sign of their daughter, her parents alerted the police, triggering an investigation. Despite extensive efforts at the time, no clues to Go Sha's whereabouts were ever found. Years later, with the gruesome discovery in the Beijing basement, her case resurfaced. Could the mummified remains belong to Go Sha? The connection between her mysterious disappearance and the body in the basement was undeniable. The question haunting investigators now wasn't just who had committed the crime, but why. After the discovery of a mummified corpse in the ventilation duct, the police turned their attention to a case long thought to be cold. CCTV footage from 1999 revealed that Go Sha had been seen heading toward her workplace at 9 p.m. Yet after that moment, she seemed to vanish into thin air. Desperate to uncover her whereabouts, investigators scoured the parking building, meticulously searching every corner. But their efforts yielded nothing. At the time, police suspected foul play. Go Sha's affluent background made kidnapping for ransom a plausible theory, but no demands were ever made to her family. The trail went cold, and the case slipped into obscurity, until 7 years later, when the chilling discovery of her remains thrust it back into the public eye. When Go Sha's parents were summoned to identify the remains, their grief was reignited. They recognized the stylish clothing and branded handbag found near the body. DNA testing confirmed the worst. The mummified corpse belonged to their beloved daughter, the young woman who had mysteriously disappeared all those years ago. With this grim confirmation, the investigation gained new urgency. Who had murdered Go Sha and why? Police explored various theories. Given her striking beauty and privileged background, they considered the possibility of a spurned lover or someone with deep-seated resentment. Another theory pointed toward the building's construction workers, who may have known the hidden corners of the premises where the body was concealed. The investigation delved into the Lyon Building's history, specifically its construction phase in 1999. At that time, many workers had been living on site, including in Basement B, the very location where Go Sha's body was found. Her parents revealed a chilling detail. After her disappearance, they had urged authorities to search the basement thoroughly. However, due to unauthorized renovations and the area being sealed off, this critical location had been overlooked. That oversight allowed her remains to stay hidden for years. Determined to piece together the events of that fateful night, police began interviewing individuals who had been in Go Sha's orbit. Former colleagues from 1999 provided valuable insights, shedding light on her relationships and workplace dynamics. Some spoke of tensions she had experienced, while others hinted at possible suspects who may have harbored malicious intent toward her. As the investigation unfolded, it became clear that Go Sha's tragic death was not a random act of violence. It was a carefully orchestrated crime. The once-forgotten basement was now the key to unraveling the mystery and delivering justice for the young woman whose life had been stolen so cruelly. Go Sha's superior, Zhang Ha, became a person of interest in the investigation. It was revealed that Zhang Ha had instructed Go Sha to come to the office on the night she disappeared. Zhang was already at the office when she arrived, but left the premises at 9:10 p.m., returning at 9:40 p.m., coinciding with the time Go Sha vanished. When Zhang discovered that Go Sha had disappeared during his brief absence, he allegedly threatened female colleagues, warning them not to disclose that he was away for 30 minutes. Fearing for their jobs, they remained silent. Further investigation revealed that Zhang, nearly twice Go Sha's age, was reportedly infatuated with her and often followed her. This behavior made him the prime suspect. However, when police analyzed his timeline, they discovered discrepancies. Go Sha had left her home at 7 p.m. and reached the office around 9 p.m. At 9:40 p.m., she was last seen parking her car. If Zhang had assaulted her, murdered her, and moved her body to the ventilation duct, it would have required at least 20 to 30 minutes. Given the narrow time gap between his movements and his physical limitations, it seemed implausible for him to carry out such a crime alone. Thus, Zhang was eventually removed from the suspect list. The building owner, Mr. Wu, was also questioned. He disclosed that apart from him, a contractor named Mr. Liu had access to the building keys. Despite the project's completion, Mr. Liu had not returned the keys. When questioned, Mr. Liu explained that on the night of the incident, he had been gambling with Mr. Wu and other colleagues. Moreover, Mr. Wu had suffered a stroke in 1998, leaving him partially paralyzed and incapable of physical activities like moving a body. Both Mr. Wu and Mr. Liu were subsequently ruled out as suspects. During their investigation, police spoke with workers who had been present at the building during its construction. One worker, Xiao Heng, became a key focus. Mr. Liu recounted that on the night of Go Sha's disappearance, he had seen Xiao Heng and two other laborers drinking, smoking, and watching explicit content in the basement. When Mr. Liu confronted them, they reportedly stated that they were planning to visit a prostitute to satisfy their urges. Hearing this account, the police quickly arrested Xiao Heng for further questioning, believing he might hold critical information about Go Sha's tragic fate. The apprehension of Xiao Heng seemed like a breakthrough in the long unsolved case of Go Sha. Under intense police interrogation, Xiao initially denied all involvement, but as pressure mounted, he finally confessed. He admitted to the heinous crime of sexually assaulting and murdering Go Sha, implicating two accomplices, Yang and Wang, in the process. Acting swiftly, the police arrested the other two men, hoping this would finally close the case. In his chilling confession, Xiao Heng described the events of that tragic night. He claimed that he and his accomplices were loitering in basement B, engaging in crude conversations while discussing plans to hire a prostitute. It was then that Go Sha entered the basement, possibly taking a wrong turn. She overheard their vulgarity and confronted them, expressing her disgust. Her words enraged the men, and when she turned to leave, they followed her. What followed was a horrifying series of events. Xiao Heng confessed that the three men grabbed Go Sha, dragged her deeper into the basement, and viciously beat her. One by one, they assaulted her, their cruelty culminating in her murder. To conceal their crime, they hid her lifeless body inside the ventilation duct. Xiao described how they meticulously cleaned the scene to erase all traces of their brutality, ensuring no evidence would link them to the crime. However, despite the detailed confessions, cracks in the case began to emerge. A confession without evidence. The police were eager to move forward, but they encountered a significant problem. There was no physical evidence tying Xiao Heng, Yang, or Wang to the crime. Forensic analysis of the basement revealed no DNA, no fibers, no fingerprints, nothing that could conclusively link the men to Go Sha's death. Even the crime scene appeared devoid of tangible evidence, despite their confessions of having assaulted her there. Further complications arose when inconsistencies in their stories came to light. Xiao Heng's account conflicted with Wang's version in key details, such as the exact sequence of events and even the location of Go Sha's body within the basement. Wang went as far as to claim that they had stabbed Go Sha multiple times in the chest during the attack, but the autopsy report contradicted this, revealing no stab wounds on her body. These contradictions cast serious doubt on the veracity of their confessions. With no material evidence to corroborate their claims, the police faced mounting difficulties in building a solid case. A justice deferred. The investigation stalled, and the case remained unresolved. In 2007, Wang passed away from a neurological condition, leaving only Xiaoheng and Yang to face questioning. However, with one suspect deceased and their confessions riddled with inconsistencies, the pursuit of justice hit an impasse. Go Sha's tragic death continued to haunt her family and the investigators who sought to uncover the truth. Without concrete evidence or reliable testimony, the case drifted into uncertainty, a grim reminder of how fragile justice can be when built on shaky foundations. For now, Go Sha's story remains a chilling tale of violence and impunity, her memory a symbol of the unanswered questions left in the shadows of Basement B. As the suspects were brought back to court, the case took another shocking turn. Xiaoheng and Yang, once believed to be the perpetrators, retracted their confessions. In a startling twist, they denied committing the murder, claiming they didn't even know Go Sha. They stated that their confessions had been coerced under police pressure. This sudden reversal cast a dark cloud over the case, leaving the prosecution with no physical evidence, no witnesses, and no corroboration of the confessions. With the defense asserting their innocence, the court had no choice but to acquit them during the first hearing. Yet the defense attorneys weren't ready to let the case fade into obscurity. They requested more time to investigate, hoping to uncover new evidence that could link the accused to the crime. The defense team tirelessly searched for any shred of proof, hoping perhaps for something as simple as traces of semen on the victim's underwear. Unfortunately, after a thorough examination, the doctors concluded that the passage of time had destroyed any potential forensic evidence. Without fresh evidence and with no new leads to pursue, the police were left with no choice but to release Xiaoheng and Yang. The tragic murder of Go Sha, once thought to be solved, remained unresolved. Despite the confessions, the investigation, and the desperate efforts to uncover the truth, justice was never served. In the end, Go Sha's life was taken brutally, and her story was lost in the shadows of an unsolved crime. The two men responsible for her death walked free, leaving a haunting reminder of how the absence of evidence can allow the guilty to slip through the cracks. The case that haunts. This tragic story serves as a reminder of the complexities and frustrations of the criminal justice system. Despite the confessions, without physical evidence or reliable witnesses, justice was never achieved. Go Sha's family was left with unanswered questions, and her killers were left unpunished. What are your thoughts on the case? Please share your comments below. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe for more intriguing stories. If you found the video interesting, please like and share it. We'll see you again soon with another compelling case.